tonight's breaking news, the New York Times detailing an alleged web of payments from Matt Gaetz to women who say they were hired for sex comes as another Trump pick faces criticism from a first-time Trump appointee. Nikki Haley, his one-time UN ambassador, took issue today with the choice of Tulsi Gabbard as director of national intelligence.
This is not a place for a Russian, Iranian, Syrian, Chinese sympathizer. DNI has to analyze real threats. Are we comfortable with someone like that at the top of our national intelligence agencies?
Nikki Haley, of course, opposed candidate Trump in the primaries this year and continues to pay a price for it. She's essentially been blackballed by him because of it. Also had sharp words for Health and Human Services pick and vaccine falsehood promoter Robert F. Kennedy Jr. The Senate, she said, needs to ask the hard questions to him before we go and approve him. For more on the chamber's constitutional duty to advise and consent on presidential nominees, we're joined tonight by Rhode Island Democratic Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, who sits on the Judiciary Committee. Senator, thank you for being with us. Do you think Nikki Haley's criticism of Tulsi Gabbard will break through with any of your Republican Senate colleagues? And what do you think of the prospect of Gabbard as DNI?
Yeah, I think it will in time. In order to have an effective intelligence operation protecting Americans, you have to be able to work well with our allies, particularly the legendary Five Eyes, with whom we share enormous amounts of information and trust. If we bring in somebody like this, who smells to other intelligence agencies like someone who will compromise their sources and methods and be far too cozy with Russia and other adversaries, then they're going to hold back information that could be really critical to our success. And as things like that begin to filter through, that this is a choice that actually puts Americans at risk because we won't have access to intelligence that could be critical to our safety, I think Republicans will likely begin to come around.
I mean, do you think Tulsi Gabbard could actually get a security clearance if she went through the normal channels to get, a normal investigation to get a security clearance?
No, I think if she were being hired at some mid-level position in the intelligence community or in the Defense Department, I think she'd end up being rejected for not being able to get a security clearance.
That's incredible.
Well, it's pretty incredible that the candidate for Attorney General, his only experience with criminal investigations is being on the receiving end of one.
That is also incredible. There's this breaking news from the New York Times that we mentioned at the top of the program, the paper reporting that, according to a document it obtained that we're showing on the screen right now, or about to, federal investigators establish a trail of payments from Matt Gaetz, President-elect Donald Trump's choice to be Attorney General, obviously, to women, including some who testified that Mr. Gaetz hired them for sex, according to a document obtained by the Times, end quote. Well, I'm wondering what your reaction to that is, and to Republicans on the House Ethics Committee today essentially blocking the release of their report on Gaetz.
Look, we should get the House Ethics Report. We should get the Department of Justice files. There's precedent for getting the House Ethics Report. He's going to be overseeing the DOJ and the FBI, so what they have on him in-house is highly relevant. So I think the real issue here is how low the Republicans want to go, because this is going to keep coming out. This isn't the last piece of news. The information in the House Ethics files and in the DOJ report came in from witnesses who are available to us, and we're going to keep digging. I think the bottom line here is that there is an element of Trump wanting to sort of subjugate Republican senators here. There's a legend of the foreign potentate who had the door to his reception chamber 2 feet high, so everybody who wanted to approach him had to come in at a crawl. And I think some of these candidates are essentially Trump challenging the Republican Senate to a crawl moment. And the stakes are getting higher and higher as more and more bad information comes out about these nominees.
Well, I mean, Gaetz, as you know, met with several senators on Capitol Hill today. I mean, it seems like so far Republican senators seem mostly to be on the same page, at least publicly, which is that Gaetz has some serious allegations to address, but he deserves a hearing. Do you think there are enough Republican senators who would say no to him as Attorney General?
I think it's too early to tell that. As I said, I think this is the crawl test for senators. I think there are some Republican senators who are eager to crawl. I think there are others who are trying to keep their powder dry and stay out of trouble with Trump for as long as they can. But when it's game day and this information about Gaetz and all of his sexual misbehavior and his payments for things, in addition to his complete lack of qualification. I mean, we're focusing on the sex part, but this is a guy who's has no idea how to do that job whatsoever, and will clearly bring to it a really foul political cast. So there are abundant reasons that are going to make it more and more difficult as time goes by, and we'll just have to see who's in the stand-up part of the Republican caucus and who's in the crawl part of the Republican caucus.
Senator Whitehouse, I appreciate your time. Thank you.